Hello and welcome to the Don't Tail This podcast, a sports betting podcast that really needs to turn this thing around. I'm your host, Al Manarino. With me is my co-host and co-parlay ruiner, Mr. Ben Murkison. Ben, I mean, I don't even have to ask what's up. Nothing's really up, right?
Not our bank accounts, not our bet wins. It's steadily going down. I'm mad, I'm sad. This is just bad. We should we should hit a bet this week.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to keep rhyming.
I thought about it.
Yeah, it's been rough. So I was just saying how crazy it is that we are already on to week 4, but week 3, not a great experience for both Ben and I. The concept of this podcast was to talk through our bets like we would normally do on like text message or Facebook Messenger, where we kind of our friendship blossomed. But the other part of it was to kind of, talk about the other side of this, the parts that suck, not hitting the bet, which, we would complain about through those text messages or Facebook messages. Yeah, it's been a rough one, man. The week 3 was no different, starting with the 1 p.m. games.
Yeah, we had, I don't know, I felt positive going into this week. Maybe that's naive. I don't know. I thought that this was going to be a good week for us, and I like some of our bets. But yeah, if we recap 1 p.m., so we were both on Kyle Pitts, over 3.5 receptions. He had 4. So the Kyle Pitts trend continues. He's still doing well. We were both on that one. And then we tried to lump in a couple of other over receptions, both guys at 6.5. Puka Nacua was my choice. He ended up with 11. So that's a guy that we just continue to be able to play without thinking about it. He's just going to get double-digit targets every single game. So he hit. Jamar Chase, under any other circumstances, definitely would have. But they just played. The Bengals played the worst game of probably any team this year, which is saying a lot because the Dolphins have played a lot of football. There's been a lot of other teams that have sucked out there. But yeah, their offense couldn't get anything going. I didn't watch the game because nobody should have watched that one, but I don't even know if Chase was out there running routes like towards the end of that one because it was just so out of hand. He needed 6.5. He finished with 5. And then Travis Etienne Jr., it's funny, our line for him was 55.5. He actually finished with 56. I thought that was one that we had lost, but he did hit that by a whole half a yard. So it would have been a great cash ticket for us if Jamar Chase had played with a quarterback, not Jake Browning. I don't know what happened with that offense, but they couldn't get anything going. A couple other bets that we had that we didn't include. Tyler Warren, he was dealing with the injury, and I think that was apparent. So that was kind of my concern with it. You were not concerned with him, but 49.5 was the line. He finished with 38.5. Still not a bad day for Tyler Warren, but I think that's somebody we can come back to anytime he's 100% healthy. Rashad White at over 25.5, I thought was somebody the Bucs were going to get more involved in the run game. They got him less involved. He went down to 12 yards, so fall short of that line. De'Ami Brown also on the losing side of that. Your pick, he had 33.5 was the target. He finished with just 7. So another guy that seemed like he was trending in a direction to go up, and then just wasn't involved in the offense. A bonus pick that we ended up editing out of the podcast because I have zero reading comprehension. I thought that it was a 4 o'clock pick, so I didn't actually have 4 o'clock picks. I had 5 for the 1 o'clock game. I did think he would go under rushing just based off of what the Browns had done to Henry the week before, and he did finish under rushing. But overall, 4-1 technically for me, and then 1-3 for you. But we both felt pretty good about Jamar Chase, which under any other circumstances would have been the right pick. But it's the one that sank the 1 o'clock parlay for us.
Yeah, the only thing I had to add was, Browning had a pretty terrible game. They got slaughtered. It was like 48-10 or something crazy. But, Chase only missed one of his targets. So he was only targeted six times. And, we need the 7 receptions. The 2 interceptions weren't even to him that Browning had. So really the only thing going against Chase was that he had Browning as his quarterback. And I mean, I didn't see the Wentz-assance. Can I coin that, by the way?
Wentz-assance? I like it. I still don't like Wentz. I feel like that was a fluke. We'll see maybe what happens in the next game. But
yeah, I mean, we thought that about Daniel Jones too. But the Colts are now 3-0. So I don't know. We're in the upside down at this point.
Yeah, I was about to say up is down. Yeah. Dogs are sleeping with cats or whatever the expression is.
Exactly. Yeah, and the only other thing I would want to mention from the 1 o'clock slate, Obviously disappointing for Brown. I straight up said on the podcast I don't trust White at all, so I'm glad we didn't go that pick. Really, the only thing was Warren still getting almost 40 yards dealing with an injury. So as you mentioned, like when he's healthy again, I would not mind putting him back on the parlay
Yeah.
slip because apparently tight ends can have a bad week or two and then have an incredible week, and we'll get to that later.
Fuck that guy in advance. I don't want to talk about him. Yeah. So 4 o'clock. Remarkably, we we did so well for the 4 o'clock slate. You especially, which I have one question to ask, which I think I know the answer, or else you would have told me. But so 4 p.m. off the top, my pick was Justin Herbert over rushing because it just seemed like the thing that we had gone to the first 2 weeks and it hit well. So it was over 20.5, and as soon as I said that, you were like, hell yeah. So I marked it down as one of yours also, but I don't know that it was one of your official picks. You were just really excited about it because it seemed like a no-brainer. So I don't know if that was something that you actually had written down or if that was
I
just one that
believe
you
I
agreed
I
with.
believe I did.
Okay.
I think of my favorites, that was definitely one of them. So I'm not going to give you all the slack for that one. That was definitely a
Fair, fair. So
co.
in that case, you had 5 picks, which actually balanced out because I had only made 3 for this game. But yeah, his line was 20.5, one that he had easily gone over. He was the leading rusher for the Chargers coming into this game, and then he finishes with just 6 yards. And that is the only pick that we missed out of everything else, with the exception of the asterisk for CD Lamb because he didn't register any stats before he got hurt. I think most books that I saw ended up voiding that after the fact and adjusting
Mhm.
tickets, so we would have been okay. CMC over 37.5 was your pick. He finished with 88 receiving. Kyler Murray over 28.5 rushing was your pick, and he finished with 37. JSN over 74.5. He finished with 96. That's a guy that has crushed every single week. So that's
Yeah.
somebody we should put in there.
Sounds like you're making picks for Thursday already.
Yeah, pretty much. Bo Nix over 21.5. We went back to him for the third time, I think, with your selections, and he did finally
Yeah,
come through for you with
of
33. So
course.
Bo Nix got involved. And then Juwan Johnson continued to be the only good, really play from the Saints, over 43.5, and he finished with 51. So literally the only pick out of all the 4 p.m. slate that did not hit was Justin Herbert, the guy that we probably, had we ranked them like 1 to 10 or whatever, we would have probably put him at the top.
All right, so I have a new rule that I'm putting in here. So
Okay.
I've been adding these rules throughout
Mm.
the year, and I've forgotten every rule that I've created. So hopefully you can remind me of these. Here's a good one though. So if you look at those picks, I'm looking at them written down. The thing that I noticed the most is that if we eliminated the pick that we both liked from our individual parlays, we would have slapped both of us
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
So you had CeeDee Lamb and you had Juwan Johnson. If you had come up with another one,
Nick Chubb
or
from the 1
if
PM. I mean, not
yeah,
Nick Chubb.
or say, whatever, you came into like there's a good chance that you would have hit. But like if I removed the Herbert one and even threw in the Bo Nix one and made it 5 picks, CD would have been voided and I would have hit. But it's the ones that we feel the most confident about, I think need to be removed. If we both come into it with the same leg, that needs to be removed from any other bet. It's that repetition effect. Like, we'll get into it when we talk about Monday night, but like, me and you were talking like D-Hop, and putting D-Hop in my head, put him in all of my bets, all of my parlays. I even had him his first touchdown or longest touchdown for the king of the end zone, and he fell short of his yardage, didn't get a touchdown. He was like the only person who didn't get a touchdown that game. So it's
I
like
think yeah.
we
He got
need
targeted
to,
like twice, and then they just forgot about him.
it's almost like if we include it
Yeah.
and we're both in it, we need to also kind of fade it or remove it from any other bet. Like you're like, oh, I'm so sure of this, and Al was also so sure of it. Let's take it out of every other subsequent bet.
That's true. And if we look back, we can do the research and kind of go back and see. I know Kyle Pitts, we were both on, and that one hit from the 1 p.m. But I mean, looking at some of the other ones that we both were on, that does make sense. And we should probably, yeah, we can make that a hard and fast rule that we probably won't remember to follow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, yeah, so I would have gone like 1-1-1 for the 4 p.m. and you would have gone 4-1 if you were on the Herbert one, or 4-0 if you didn't do the Herbert. So yeah, it's another week that, yeah, we both should have made some money and we did not there.
I would have technically went 5-0 because one of them would have been voided.
Yeah.
I would have had a 5-legger that hit.
that would be nice.
Ugh.
What didn't hit was Sunday Night Football either. So
Sunday night sucked.
we continued to be shitty. Sunday night might have pissed me off more than any of the other ones. We both went 2-2. We again, like we talked about, we were both on Kelsey. We're like, okay, they're down like 2 receivers essentially. Like they're gonna need Kelsey to contribute. Over 44.5 was his line. He finished with just 26. I made a mention during the game that if he didn't get more involved in the offense, he was going to be on my never again list. I don't know if you want to put him there. I think it would take both of us, making that call. But Kelsey's kind of
I need Worthy back in.
yeah.
At least give me Worthy to see what happens.
So
Because the
you're
offense is
thinking
built.
addition of Worthy would like free Kelsey up more potentially.
I mean, for him to get 26 yards against the Giants in a win is crazy to me.
It just
Like, it
seemed like
doesn't
they're
make
using him
any
as a
sense.
blocker.
You saw him so frustrated because that offense was built upon the idea that they had both Rice and Worthy.
Mhm.
They have neither. Tyquan Thornton was cut from the Patriots, who suck and have no wide receiver core. He is now wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs. They have scraps at this point. I would say Marquise Hollywood Brown is wide receiver 1, but that's not saying a lot, is what I'm saying. So if that offense gets revitalized in the next, I would say by week 6 is when, or by, sorry, week 7, I believe, is when Rice is able to come back. So as long as he's healthy, has stayed like up to date on like training and all that kind of stuff, he's in the lineup, Worthy's in the lineup. I mean, that's huge for that team and Kelsey because it frees him up so much and becomes that middle of the field threat that we know and love.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say his game plan, like the usage for him, like he's blocking more and he's kind of running decoy stuff more. Picking, actually running into his
Well,
player,
the
knocking
run
him out of the
game
game.
sucks.
Yeah,
The
but
run
that's the
game
thing
is
is like,
trash too.
yeah, they can't run the football. Like their offense is bad right now. It's mostly just Mahomes, like, flinging balls randomly downfield, somehow making something happen and winning games.
Yeah.
But yeah, their offense is not one that I really want a lot of parts of. So hopefully we can stay away from primetime games. But unfortunately, the Chiefs are in a lot of primetime games, so we get stuck looking at them and trying to make picks. But yeah, so Kelsey screwed us over. Scatterbo, your boy.
My boy.
Originally, you wanted to take him over 9.5 attempts. He actually finished with 10 attempts, so he would have hit that. And then he went well over his rushing line.
Yeah, we couldn't parlay it. I
yeah.
tried.
So basically, it's a check either way. Anything you wanted to do with Scatterbo was, if you could have thrown him in for an anytime touchdown, it could have been like a Scatterbo just parlay, and it would have hit. I tried to go on to Robinson over 44.5 receiving yards. See, I think he only had like 1 catch, and it was for 26. It was the very end of the game. Was not involved. But I mean, again, we talked about Russ sucking, so none of the receivers
Russ
were really
wasn't involved.
Nope. We tried to go with Mahomes over rushing again, because that's another one like the Herbert that he'd been crushing. All of a sudden, he went from like 30.5 should be an easy play to he finished with 2 yards. 2 yards rushing. Miserable. I did take Kareem Hunt over 26.5 rushing, and he did have 34. So I was correct in thinking that they want to get him more involved because Pacheco just doesn't seem to have it so far this season. One that we were both on, and for some reason we decided not to go with on the other side, that was Russell Wilson over 18.5 rushing. He had 27, so that's one that could have paid out for us. The only thing Wilson did correctly was just running because he couldn't throw the football. Anyway, we both went 2-2. It sucked. Sunday Night Football sucked for all the purposes we recounted on so many different levels. And then we went into Monday Night Football, the one that we, just put on our social medias. We texted each other our picks. It, again, did not work out for us. We were both on Gibbs, over 4.5 receptions. We liked his yards, too. We actually let my dog decide, or I let my dog decide which one we went with. By choosing a hand, he did go with the over receptions, so we'll also give TK a half hit on that. He finished with 5. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, I wanted his receiving yards at 70.5. He finished with 77, so that hit. We did end up pivoting away from that, but we did take him for anytime touchdown as kind of a bonus pick that we both liked, and that one did hit as well, so that was good. That was the end of the positive
Should have done both.
That was the end of the positivity because we went back to the D-Hop well after you had like faked him twice, and then
You were telling me though. I know you put it as an L pick, but you were like, we have to do D-Hop. That was almost a double pick for us.
I basically called you a coward if you don't go with him because you tried to go with him twice and then you didn't. So,
dude, Flowers was the most. I'm like still mad about it. I don't know how I fell asleep.
Very bad. Very bad. But D-Hop only finished with 13. He had like 2 catches, I think, or maybe just 1 catch, and then they got a pass interference in the end zone. Jameson Williams, he started off hot. He had the first 2 catches of the game. His line was only 49.5, but he somehow just finished with 43. He was very little involved
Yeah.
after that. I thought that Jared Goff would have a good game passing the football. Statistically, it seemed like if I had not been looking at it, I would have thought that he had way more yards. His line was 258.5. He only finished with
Yeah.
202. When you have a successful run game, you don't have to do that as much. And obviously, the Ravens turning the football over in opportune times.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Flowers was the one that we were both on. He's another guy that had crushed his line the first 2 weeks. We said, "Why are we not on Flowers?" Like, he's like an automatic hit every week. So the
Yeah.
first, like, person that we probably both would have agreed to play was Flowers. His line was 70.5 because of how successful he'd been, and he only finished with 13. The least involved Raven in that offense, which would probably signal the reason why they lost the game that they should have had a chance to win. Ultimately, we lose every parlay once again. We're unsuccessful. I will say, like, I follow a lot of accounts like we both do. There wasn't a lot of success that I saw. There was a lot of guys that we sometimes like tailor, like, look at what picks they have and try to take some of their advice maybe into an account. And they were like having a hard go of it too. The difference again between like us and them is we're literally chalking up wins and losses just as full parlays, not like our individual picks like all totaled up because I just, like, did the math simply, and, like, I could have been 10-6, and you would have been, like, 9-8. We would have been, like, 19-14 overall, and we could say, like, "Oh, we're up 5 units." Like, "Yay." But, like, nobody's gonna make money doing that. We're not doing that is what we're doing. We're counting just the parlays as a whole, so, sadly, yeah, we go over, but, we're taking accountability. Shit sucked. Like, I think we had a lot of good plays. We just didn't put them in the right order of like going through and going with them at 4. And then some guys that should have been hits, like just, what are you going to do when a guy like Zay
Yeah.
doesn't do anything or Mahomes doesn't do anything? So tough hit for us. But yeah, we move on to week 4.
We move on to week 4. Yeah, the only thing I was gonna mention with you forgot to mention my Monty picks, and Monty was a
Yeah.
big guy for me. David Montgomery, I mean, it was honestly the I think the best wins I had personally last season involved the Lions and specifically Gibbs, J-Mo, and Montgomery. I was never big on, St. Brown. I felt like last year I mean, he was like the glue. He was a very much the glue guy. He's like the lad of, McConkey of their team, in the sense that like, obvious wide receiver one will put up big yardage, but is just very consistent in the sense of like, oh man, his line's 70 and he hit 68. Oh, I'm not gonna say that was a shit game from him when he hit 68 yards and a touchdown, but he didn't hit his yardage. So it's like a guy I actively avoided last year, except this week, and he hit both his lines. JMO was the one who didn't, but guess who did? Monty hit a touchdown. And I said, I like Monty touchdown. I like Monty receiving yards. He crushed, or no, rushing yards. He crushed his rushing yards. And I think he did pretty good on his receiving yards too, in like the first catch of the game. So, or
Yeah.
his first catch of the game. So it's like, and Gibbs, we mentioned Gibbs. We both were on Gibbs receptions, which I think was at 3.5. And then we found the line at 3.5. And then other lines moved it to 4.5 and it hit regardless. It hit 5.
Yeah.
He also hit his receiving yards. So it's like we were right on that stuff. It was the outlier stuff. Maybe, focusing on Flowers. I think we were always going to do that. Or we were always going to do D Hop. But like when it comes to the Lions, man, when they're on and they put up such big, fun numbers, big, uh, high scoring games. And it's just tough because like you're like, oh well, it's the Ravens. They have to put up big numbers too, right? Lamar and Henry are gonna show up, Flowers is gonna show up, right? And it's like almost none of them showed up.
I mean, at this point, you need to bet like a fumble for Henry would be hitting every week. But yeah, that is funny. I mean, it's another one of those things where like you're frustrated after the fact because you definitely could have made some money because you sent me your 4 guys, and then like a text like a few messages after that was also Montgomery yards and touchdown. So yeah, and then you sent me that same text like at the end of the night, like why didn't I fucking bet this? Like yeah,
Yeah.
it's where it's where we start overcomplicating things and just like bet the things that we say. But it is what it is. So we're moving into a Thursday game that you had mentioned you're not a huge fan of. I kind of like the NFC West battle between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. There's some guys that I do like in this. There's also some lines that we're recording this obviously on a Tuesday, and there's a couple of guys that I would like to include that are not available at the moment. So reserve the right to add them into this parlay when we go through and make it official. But I have some guys that I do like off the top that I know we're gonna have some of the same ones. And we kind of talked about both of those guys, I think, already. But if you had a number one confidence pick for this game, who do you want to lead off with?
Okay, so should we just get the ones that we're gonna both talk about out of the way? And I want to say, I want to put a caveat here is like, okay, we both like these. We're both gonna say them. They're probably both gonna end up in the parlay. Are these one of these gonna fuck us over? Is one of these gonna be the CD Lamb or the Kelsey or I mean,
I mean, based off the
how many more?
strategy you just talked about, then yes,
Yeah,
we should definitely throw them out of any additional parlays that we pick.
exactly.
If we
All
could
right, so
include them in this one, but yeah.
I will start with the obvious one for me. It's Kyler Murray over rushing yards. This is the third or fourth week in a row that
This will
we
be the
have
fourth
mentioned
week we
this.
bet him, I think, or at least, like, say him, yeah.
Okay. So Kyler over rushing. Obviously, it's because he's hit this line like every week. Kyler, that's basically all he's got, as I made that joke on Twitter the other
He's
day.
doing the dice thing too much.
He's doing the dice. Exactly. So it's pretty much all he's got. Kyler kind of hits this number in one way or another over 4 quarters. But there's an addition on top of this is that James Conner is out, probably out for the season.
He
If
is out
not,
for the year, yeah.
he is out for the season. James Conner is out for the season. So you lose a weapon like that, the carries are going to increase. The schemes are going to change. Obviously, they have a backup running back, but at the
Trey
same
Benson.
time, it's like Trey Benson, who may or may not be mentioned as a future pick. Kyler's going to have to rely on his legs even more than he already needs to, which is consistent enough. 9.5 on DraftKings. If you can find a better line, I highly recommend it. I don't think it's dipped below 26 or something in terms of since we've been betting it. I can double check, but
Yeah, and he's averaging over 35 a game, so I do agree. I mean, your number one wide receiver if you're Kyler Murray, your number one draft pick last season just can't seem to catch a ball right now, and he's
yeah,
emotional. Like, it's bad. Like, if you saw,
I
you know,
saw the drop. I
yeah,
saw the drop. It was
everybody saw the drop.
it was
Inexplicable, like.
a walk-in touchdown.
And it's one where, like, it basically was just turned around, like, waiting for the ball to get to him wide open, and it hits him directly in the hands. It's
Mhm.
one that, like, I know we could say it, like, of course, if I had a helmet on, I'm not gonna catch that ball, but you would like to think that, like, the average Joe has about as good a shot at catching it, and apparently he did in that moment. It's insane that that drop happened, and his
Yeah.
confidence, I know, is shot, so it could go one of 2 ways. He's either gonna be force-fed the ball, but I thought Mark Andrews would be week 1, and it took, like, 3 extra weeks for that to happen. Or they're gonna just, he doesn't have confidence, so maybe they stay away from him, they throw the ball other directions, or Murray runs all over the place, so one or the other. We'll see if he's included in our
It's
picks at all.
hard because they only have one other option, right? And it goes back to like the Kelsey dilemma. It's like if your tight end is your number one receiver, defenses are going to understand that and they're going to be privy to that and they're going to cover him, like white on rice, right?
Yeah,
So,
literally nobody else is getting the ball, like, in that offense. Like, do you have, like, Michael
no.
Wilson to get, like, maybe a catch a game or something? Like, they're struggling, to find offense. They've been in a lot of tight games. If Marvin Harrison Jr. was, like, playing better, then I think that they'd have a better record. Obviously, they'd be more competitive. If he was playing up to, like, the Malik Neighbors standard, although Malik Neighbors doesn't have a quarterback, so they're both struggling for different reasons right now.
We have a quarterback now,
Okay, we'll
and
see if
his
he throws a
name
pass.
is
He needs to
Jackson
throw a
Dart.
pass. Let's watch him throw passes and hope that that goes
Let's
well.
watch him throw a singular pass.
A singular pass. Oh my god, imagine if the Giants, I don't wanna go back to the Giants conversation, but if the Giants just start booing him relentlessly after, like, a quarter, it's gonna get so
I
ugly.
don't think the boos are going to go to him though. I think the
No.
boos are going to just be to the team,
It would be
to the
overall,
entire
like, this
organization.
situation sucks. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
the other pick that I know we both had, I can, be the one to say it, but it was JSN, like, Jackson Smith-Njigba, again, over 85.5. His line is getting bigger, but at the same time, he's more than hitting it every single time. So we
I know.
didn't throw him in the last one, but, like, he crushed that. I mean, JSN, he had 96 yards. His line was 74.5, so they up it to 85.5 this time. There's nothing that tells me he's not gonna have 100 yards receiving.
I think the conversation specifically was, do we feel more confident about JSN or CD? And we picked CD, and obviously that was voided, and that wasn't the reason we lost.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have affected it either way. But we were both high on both of them, and if
Yep.
CD had played, I think he would have easily have crushed that line.
Yeah, I think so too. They would just, we were never gonna go off of Justin Herbert rushing though, so that's,
No,
yeah.
dummies.
Um, but yeah, I do like JSN. Again, he's been I don't know if he is. Is he the wide receiver 1 right now, like, in the NFL? Like, just for production? He has to be up there because he's
Yeah, because he's averaging 101.7 yards.
that's pretty
So I think
good.
he's had yeah, which is fucking crazy, and on top of that, like, he's very much like, to this team, it's not even like I can't even compare it to Darnold and Jefferson. It really feels more like Stafford and Puka, where his like, there's no other receiver on the team. I'm only throwing to this man. That's the relationship it's become, like, because wide receiver 2 is Cooper.
That's gotta be funny for well, not funny for Cup, I guess, but he's like, "I went from one roster where they only wanna throw to one
Yeah.
guy to, like, another roster where they really only wanna throw to one guy."
And he used to be the guy. Like, a few
I
years
used to
ago,
be
he
that
was a
guy.
he was a Super Bowl MVP. Crazy.
Crazy. Alright, so those are the 2 that we knew we were both gonna have.
Yeah.
Who's somebody else that you looked at?
So, I mentioned him briefly, Trey Benson. So, Trey Benson, he is the RB2 who now is RB1 for the Cardinals. They have I guess, a RB3 named Amari DeMarcado.
Yeah, he got some play last year too, but yeah, Benson's the clear number 1.
Yeah, so his line, DeMarcado is 13.5. I don't know enough about him to bet that. Benson's line is 60.5. I don't like that for someone who's getting that role, like stepping in. Obviously, Scadaboo did it and crushed it. It did a great job. When they made him more part of the offense, but also when Tracy got injured, Benson could, he could potentially clear this line. I just don't feel comfortable about it. Here's one I do feel comfortable about, though: his receiving prop. I like his reception line at
Is
three
it
and a half. Here's why.
I was
One,
hoping it was 2.5.
I know, and I looked at it because I was like, oh, it's got to be 2.5. It's got to be 2.5. DK has it at 3.5. It's plus 109. Here's what I'm thinking. He's going to have to take over James Conner's role. Connor was a dual threat. He wasn't just the back that would get you 100 yards rushing in fantasy, right? He would also be like a pass catcher too. So Benson, I believe in that last game, I'm just going to double check. Well, he's averaging 2.7. So, it's obviously a part of their offense to have him involved in the pass game. But when you look at, so his receiving, week 1 catch for 6 yards, but he also only had 8 carries. In the second game, he had 4 receptions for 30 yards. And the last game, he had 3 receptions for 9 yards. So they still threw to him 5 times last game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a
I'm thinking 3.5 is doable. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk, but it's plus 109, and I kind of like it.
I mean, if you remember, I like Trey Benson. I did put him in parlay. We put him in a parlay the last week too because I saw that they wanted to get him more involved, even despite having Connor. But just inexplicably in game 2, they barely utilized him, so it was just a weird time. And then, of course, like week 3, like he gets forced into action, but they were already going to him before that. There was like a lot of talk online about Benson was eventually going to be at least a 50-50 split with Connor, and then obviously Connor goes down, unfortunately, so he's now the guy. I'll be interested to see what happens with that. I don't know that I love any of his lines right now. Like he can easily go over rushing, depending on like what the game script ends up looking like. I think the Seahawks are pretty tough against the run, so that's why I didn't go with that line. The receptions line makes sense. I mean, he's not going to get a ton of work, I think. Murray doesn't check down that much to running backs. He likes to hit, Trey McBride when he can, obviously, or he takes off
But
running.
CMC had 73 yards against the Seahawks, and Warren was the top receiver at 86 yards.
Yeah. So I mean, if they're giving it up to running backs receiving, then sure. I mean, that line
Yeah,
makes sense.
and I also like his receiving yards prop at over 21.5 because of the science that backs it up. No Connor, no wide receiver core. You don't trust Marvin Harrison. Who are you throwing the ball to? If you can't get it to McBride and Harrison's dropping the ball, guess who wide receiver 4 is? Technically, based on the amount of yards, it's Benson. And apparently the Seahawks love giving yardage to running backs,
Yeah,
with
I think we
Warren
could
being
play.
4 receptions for 86 yards.
I think we could play Benson in some capacity. We'll decide the best way to utilize him, but I'm okay with using him in the parlay. And we talked about him already, but yeah, obviously the number one target for Murray is Trey McBride. I have seen the Seahawks give up some big plays, 2 tight ends. Trey McBride's line is 66.5, which is a little bit higher than I would love to see it. But again, it's a confidence thing. He's the best target that they've got right now. I could see taking his over receptions or yards, but yeah, I went with receiving yards. Although like the strongest play, I'll go ahead and like throw it out because I didn't see it. I need to look at Bet365, I guess, where you're talking about your next one. But I also want to include Kenneth Walker III in this in some capacity. So I'll look and see if they have any lines for him available elsewhere while you talk through your next pick.
What were you thinking about for
For
Walker?
I just want his rushing yards.
Does he have an injury of some sort?
No, he kind of came into the season like a little bit banged up. So I don't know if he's 100%, but he's been playing
The
like
only
every game.
rushing line DraftKings has is Sam Darnold. So they don't
Yep.
have Walker nor Charbonnet. So that means they must be wondering about an injury to one of them.
Yeah, Bet365 is the same thing, so they don't have that. I know Charbonnet is more banged up. Walker, I think he was one that had like a really weak first week, and Charbonnet was getting more touches, but then he came back like with a vengeance. Like week 2 and week 3, he's had good success. So I
Week
wanted to
3
go.
sucked. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna cut you off. So he had one good week, which was week 2 against the Steelers. He had 105 rushing yards on 13 carries. Last week against New Orleans,
It was, yeah,
mind
that's
you,
the problem. Yeah,
yeah, it's 16 carries for 38 yards. That's ass
his fantasy he
against.
had 2 touchdowns. That's why I
There you
said he had
go.
a good
So
week.
Charbonnet um didn't play last week. I guess was he injured last week and just didn't play?
So he's hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like Holland, he was their backup running back. Kind of got
Yeah, and
similar
Charbonnet
carries.
didn't do great either. 47 and 10 his last 2 weeks. So, yeah, I mean with Walker, I don't know, man. If there's no Charbonnet, if they're not splitting the backfield, the only line that I would like from him is his receiving line, but I have to see it first. Oh, guess what? It's not there.
No, they're not talking through it at all. I think
I don't feel confident about that.
the only I guess if you kind of look back at what the Cardinals did against the Panthers, so Hubbard really struggled too, which is why I was a little off on Walker's line. I mean, you got like CMC as a reference point is like a hard reference point to have for anybody because CMC is a very different type of player.
But Warren over
Yeah.
100 yards or whatever?
Yeah. It seemed like I don't know, man. I don't love like a lot of the lines for this game as I was trying to go through them. Maybe because it's early.
Do you want to should I read to you what I texted you before?
Well, you said you didn't like the game, right? I guess like yeah, if you're looking at it from like a parlay betting
Even though, all right,
standpoint.
so I said, can you start prepping the recap? I'll make some picks. Even though this game is ass. And you said, I like Thursday night football. It's Monday night football. That's ass. And I said, the matchup is ass. LOL.
Yeah.
Seahawks and Cards, we could smash Jason and Kyler rushing.
And that's what we're doing. Those are the only ones we
That's what
like.
we're doing. I said, and that's all I have so far. I honestly, every other pick is a struggle. Every
It
other pick
is.
is I'm taking a flyer on, right?
Yeah.
I'm banking on Benson to step up in the role. I think he has to be a bigger part of the offense. I really do like both of those lines as it's this or they're like completely screwed, right? Like it's this or it's going to be a very one-sided game because you're relying on wide receiver 1, which is your tight end, and actual wide receiver 1 who can't catch wide open passes. So
I will say
that's why I
Marvin
like
Harrison.
Benson, but everything else is ass. I have Harrison, by the way.
Yeah, I
don't
was
know
gonna say
why.
Marvin Harrison, but I had him down like in my parlay. I didn't come back to him yet because I've been talking a lot of shit about it. But over 3.5 receptions is the line that I might take because of the whole like, oh, his confidence sucks. Like, let's get him some easy ones and get him to some catches. So if they get him a couple easy catches early, then 4 is not a hard thing to accomplish.
I like not the opposite of it, but in the same mindset, I like everyone's shitting on me. You're going to be a bigger part of the offense because we need you to. We need a confidence builder. Kyler Murray's 60-yard touchdown
I
from
just
Marvin
throw it
Harrison,
deep.
and then we don't hear from him the rest of the game. I feel like he hits his line in one shot, like one moon ball. 46.5 yards is his receiving line. He's averaging 47.3, which means Vegas doesn't feel confident that he's going to hit
No,
his average.
nobody is.
No one's
Yeah,
confident, right?
that's
So it's like
literally.
if you're going to take a flyer, again, that's why I hate this game.
It's funny because
There's
it's
not a
literally
lot
50-50.
going on.
That's the philosophy. Sometimes when a guy's struggling, you want to get him involved. You just throw like a fucking screen pass to him, like, "Here, catch this," and try to run. Like, at
Yeah.
least catch it. Like, show that you have some hands. Like, get the ball in your hands, so they could go that route. Or like you said, they could just say like, "Go route." Let's just throw one up there and see if you come down with it, and then like have something. So either way, it could work. Um, if we're gonna lock something in right now, which I think we can wait for the lines to evolve a little bit and adjust, and I'll just throw it out there on the social media platforms if we decide not to go with this. But yeah, Jackson Smith-Jigba. So let's do JSN. Let's do Kyler Murray over rushing. I like your Benson line. So we could either
Which one?
double. We could. I'm just gonna say we could either double down and go like rushing and receiving for Benson, or we could throw Marvin Harrison Jr. in one of those. Let's just do the confidence one. Let's. You sold me on Benson anyway. I was kind of already on him, and yeah, I don't think they have a lot of confidence in anything. So if we don't know which way they're going to go on the Marvin Harrison, whether they're going to throw him a couple screens against the receptions, or they're going to throw a deep shot, maybe we just double down on Benson because both lines are pretty low, his receiving and his rushing.
Dude, here's a stupid one for you. I'm gonna throw it out there.
Oh boy.
Do you hate it? Send it right back. All right.
Uh huh.
JSN 90 receiving yards is plus 105. So his line is 85.5. If we think he's gonna murder, you could take his alt line at 90 plus at plus 105. What I'm proposing is we remove, since we hate all of these lines, we pick a Benson line, we keep Kyler, we keep JSN, but we adjust JSN to where we think he's going to smash.
So you basically want to like ladder bet JSN's yards,
Yeah, so like
just like alt
right
line it up.
now, I guess we need the Benson first, but like we locked Kyler. I wouldn't alt Kyler. He's literally going to get 31.
Yeah, it'll be
knowing
right on the
him.
money.
Right on the money. JSN is going to be 5 or 160. There's no in between.
I mean, the Cardinals just gave up 117 yards to Ricky Pearsall on 8 catches. He's the clear number one for that team. So number one again. We could also potentially double down on like take his receptions line and his receiving lines if we just love JSN.
Do we have a fourth guy? Are we taking the flyer on Harrison or are we doubling up on someone?
It's either the flyer on Harrison or we wait until like all the full lines come out. We could potentially throw Kenneth Walker
I
in.
just I don't know a line that's going to make me go crazy.
For Kenneth.
Like, what's a line that we're missing right now that's going to be like, oh, we got to smash that? Because like I've already kind of talked through is both Walker and Charbonnet are not like consistent enough to, I mean, it would be.
What if, all right, are we both in agreement that we think the Cardinals suck? Or do we want to just do Seahawks minus 1.5? Let's just take them to win the game.
Yeah. I like that
Because
too.
I don't trust the Cardinals to be successful. I think that they're the worst 2-1 team probably in the NFL right now.
The Cardinals, right?
Yeah. So we could literally just take the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that.
If we don't like the other player props, then just go with the guys we do like and then just take the team we think is going to win. I like the Seahawks to win. I think that they're going to win and probably win easily. So minus 1.5 is an easy play. If I was going to double down on like that standard type stuff, I'd probably take the under because I don't necessarily see it being a high scoring game. But because the Seahawks have put up a lot of points the last 2 weeks.
How about this instead? How about, because I hate unders.
Yeah.
I hate unders because you're rooting for nothing to happen on a day where there's one football game. It's so boring. How about this though? Plus 101, Seahawks minus 2.5.
To just add a point. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I think they'll win by more than that. So yeah.
All right. So here's what I have so far, and you tell me if this is crazy. I'm not gonna go bananas. We have Trey Benson over 3.5 receptions. Do we like the reception line better or the receiving yards line better? The receiving yards line again was, I believe, 20.5.
I like the receiving yards line, I think, more.
21.5.
Because I could see him breaking. I think either way, like if he gets the receptions, he's going to get the receiving yards. But I can see him getting the receiving yards and not getting the number of receptions that he needs.
Does it sway you at all that the 3.5 reception line is plus money?
Okay. I mean, the plus money. Honestly, I think he'll probably hit both. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like if he's going to hit both, then I'd rather take one that's plus 109 for
Okay.
111.
Then I think the play is we take his over receptions, we take Kyler
Okay.
Murray over rushing, we take JSN
Correct.
over receiving, and then we take an alt
No,
line.
we're taking JSN 90 plus yards.
Okay, so you're gonna alt line his receiving line.
I'm
These are
going
two
to
guys that
fuck it
haven't hit a
mode.
fucking bet since the first
right.
game.
That's right.
And so now we want to alt line the best receivers line, and we want to alt line the points total, or like the
Correct.
number. Yeah. So okay. The simplified version would be over for JSN and the Seahawks minus 1.5. That's the stripped down version. But if you want to alt line it a little bit, jazz it up, make it a pretty number, that's okay.
Plus 1,600 as it currently stands right now, with the JSN line moved to 90 plus, and the Seahawks spread moved down to minus 2.5. 20 to win 340.
How we feel about that, Al?
I feel awful about everything that we've done thus far, 4 weeks into the season.
It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Like I said, that's how you know we're spiraling, because we're spending like 30 minutes discussing a Thursday night game. We usually would have spent like 10 minutes on max.
Yeah,
and it's a bunch of lines
maybe that's
we
our
hate.
problem.
Yeah, true. I mean, true. In fairness, too, before we started doing this in podcast form, we would go back and forth on like lines via text like for a long time. We were just, giving like a clean, edited version of our mindset about doing the podcast. But fuck that. We're not winning, so let's dig deep. Let's find some fucking gold here, and let's win a parlay.
That's right.
So
that is our Thursday night bet. If you aren't already subscribed to the podcast and enjoy this nonsense, just make sure you rate, review, subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to follow us at Don't Tail This on Twitter and Instagram for our slips. Email us, don'ttailthis@gmail.com. Let us know how much we suck. And if you faded us, please let us know. We would love to know.
if you comment like on the Spotify or anywhere, like fucking shout you out on the podcast, because we want some listeners. We need some interaction here.
we just want to hear from you
let's
guys.
chop it
We're
up.
bored.
Give us a parlay. Give us your best parlay. Email us as you talked about, or comments, whatever. We'll start
we'll
talking
tell
through
you.
some stuff. Maybe we'll tell you, because we need to win.
Yeah, someone needs to tail a successful account. But yeah, on behalf of myself and Ben, thank you for listening. And remember,
Don't tail this.
Don't Tail This is produced by Al Manarino and Ben Berkeson. Edited by Al Manarino. Theme song by Lucas Jones. Follow Don't Tail This on Instagram and Twitter at Don't Tail This. We are committed to responsible gaming. Please visit www.rg-help.com to learn more about the resources and helplines available. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. And always bet responsibly, which of course means don't tail this.